Our next video for our radio commercial is about adding sound effects to your narration track. We're going to use our sound effects that are located in the student folders on the computer. We're going to be adding 3 sound effects to your project. That's what's required. So this video is to show you how to add the sound effects and how to place them in the correct spot in your radio commercial. So our first track here was our narration track. Once you have a narration that is good, you're going to then need to add your sound effects. To add sound effects, you go open up your project that you've been working on and then go to Project, Import Audio. And our sound effects are located in your student folders. So up here at the top on your computer, click this little button here and it'll have a list of places to go on the computer. The one you'll want to find is the one that says student folders. My computer looks a little different. So we're going to load up our student folders and we're going to go to sound effects right here. And what you'll need to do is find yourself a sound effect that you want to use. So you can go through and you can preview the sound effects before you actually place them in your project. If you right click on the sound effect and go to play, it will play it without putting it in your project. Otherwise, if you already know what you're going to use, you can just double click on the sound effect. You can click on it and click open, or you can right click and go to select to put it in your project. Now your sound effects and most of the music, what it's going to do is it's actually going to put in a sound effect or music when we get to that. And it's actually going to have 2 tracks. This here is one sound effect, but with 2 tracks for right and left earphones, because the sound is stereo. We hear slightly different things out of each ear, so that's why this has 2 tracks right here for the left and the right. We call those channels. So this is basically our one sound effect with 2 channels, right and left, for the right and left earphones. Once you have your sound effect placed, you'll want to be able to move that where you want it in your narration. So you'll want to listen to your narration. Now, if you already have the sound effect in, like we have here, you can click solo here and play your narration. All you'll hear is your narration. You won't hear the sound effect. See, it's grayed out. Find the exact spot you want to put your sound effect in. So let's say for us, for this commercial, let's say it's at 16 seconds or a little bit after. Let's say like right here, this section with no voice, because there's a kind of a flat line. We want to put a sound effect in. We'll want to use this time shift tool, this one right here, looks like 2 arrows pointing outward. We'll use that tool and we'll move that right where the cursor is, so that the sound effect plays right where we want it to. And once you get the sound effect in place, then you can play your narration and sound effect and listen to make sure it sounds okay. Make sure that you don't have any of these clicked for solo or mute, so you hear everything. Because if you click solo, all you're going to hear is that one particular track. If you click mute, it won't play that track. So make sure you can hear everything. So once you check it, then you can keep on adding your other sound effects the same way. Now if you have a spot where you don't have a silence, like a part where you want to add a sound effect when you're reading your narration, you can add one. So to add a sound effect to a spot that doesn't have a space for it, you're going to need to go and make sure you have your selection tool selected up here and find that spot that you want to add your sound effect to. So let's say right here, at this spot right here. you want to add a sound effect. There is no space right there. Now, to get the exact right spot, we can zoom in. Right here, there's a zoom in magnifying glass. We can get the exact spot. So you want to listen to your narration. We could zoom in, get that exact spot you want to put your sound effect in. So there's not really a space for it. And we'll want to find that sound effect, because we need to know how long that sound effect is. So I'm just going to pick one here. This sound effect is about 2 seconds long. So I put my cursor right here, and I click, and I see this little line right here that's right here. That's close to 2 seconds. So I can make that silence I want about 2 seconds. So I'm going to move my sound effect down here, and we're going to put our silence in. And I'm going to zoom in so we can see. So we'll put it in close to 26 seconds. I'm just picking a spot. So we want to make a silence that's for about 2 seconds. So I'm going to put my cursor right here wherever I want to put that sound effect in. I'm going to go up to generate here and then go to silence. And it's going to ask me, how long do I want that silence to be for? Put in 2 seconds. I could generate silence. And now right here where it's highlighted, that's the silence I added in. And then I'll want to put my sound effect right in that spot so it lines up. And then you'll want to listen to your sound effects, see if it sounds okay. If for some reason you goof up and this silence is too long or not long enough, you could just go edit, undo, and go to undo silence. So don't go too many steps before listening to it. As soon as you get that sound effect in place, make sure you listen to it and make sure that it sounds good, because if you go too far, then you might not be able to undo what you did. So you can undo that silence, and you could redo it if you need to. So don't get too far ahead of yourself. After you get your sound effect in, I would get one in and save it, and then do your other one, save it. So don't get too far ahead of yourself, or else you might not be able to recover what you've already worked on. So you should have, when you're finished, your narration track, this one here, you should have a sound effect, and then you should have a third one down here. And you should listen to each sound effect, make sure they're all in the right spot, all sound okay. And again, you might want to change the volume for each track. So if you have a sound effect that's too loud, have it go towards the minus sign here for the volume. If it's not loud enough compared to your voice, your narration track, have it go up a little bit. So listen to it, make sure that something isn't too loud, something isn't too soft. If you have any questions, please see your instructor.